Men. What was something that blew your mind when you first discovered it? In any town, business travelers, usually two men in my experience, can sit at a bar, have a great conversation, and never see one another again. Single serving friends. It's a small joy of life. Airport bars are like the last bastion of people being approachable. For this very reason, I never have to know your name or see you again. Might as well as on the Philadelphia Eagles. Truly a delight. The power of neutral feelings. We often experience periods of joy and sorrow as opposite ends of a spectrum, but usually take the average, uneventful moments for granted. Only when something bad happens do we realize how gifted a boring day is. Starting to appreciate the normal/mundane moments totally changes the way we see life. As someone with a really high, stable baseline for mood, dating someone who was polar opposite of in both, thanks mental illness, made me realize I was pretty lucky, being generally in a fairly decent mood and reliable, while being able to smooth out the few bad ones fairly easily has made my life as a whole massively easier. I walked into a research lab in college, and they had this massive device, an ultra-high vacuum cryogenic scanning tunneling microscope. It could image, and even pick up, and put down single atoms. I had no idea such a thing existed until I walked in that room. I worked in that lab for all 4 years while I was in college. The kid across the hall from me 1 year in college was an astrophysics major. One night during drinky study, he said, "Hey, are you and XXXX dating?" And I said, "Sorta." And he said, "Well, I won't be able to put this to good use." He was in a long distance thing with a future wife, but here is a map with all the on-campus telescopes and their hours. These ones are open till 3 AM. And chicks dig observatories, dude. They really do. This was too weird a statement to not try and disprove. And so during my years there I tried the post bar, wanna go look at the stars line, and sure as shit, chicks dig observatories. They really do. I used to be a school bus driver. That a 40-foot long, bright yellow object, festooned with flashing lights is completely invisible to so many drivers is truly mind-boggling. I haven't seen nor heard festooned in a while. Thank you. I literally learned that word an hour ago and here I'm seeing it in action. The word is crazy. That it's quite common for women having a miscarriage during their first pregnancy still fucking sucks, but once it happens to you or your wife, you find out how many people around you actually experienced the same thing. Happened to me and my wife, and as you say, a lot of people came forward to let us know of similar experiences that we had no idea of, many of them having gone on to have kids. Horrible thing to go through, but as weird as it is to say, in the long run, was a positive experience for us. Brought us much closer together. Made us both realize how much we wanted to have a family. We are expecting late July, and made us so much tougher mentally. I still remember being a skeptical 11-year-old upon hearing my friend claim that girls didn't have penises. The claim that they had a sort of hole between their legs also sounded dubious. Imagine my surprise when I verified the claim. You got the whole truth. I'll bet the truth made your whole week. Journaling. It blew my mind how much it helped me to process what I was feeling in a particularly difficult period of my life. Seems silly that just writing a bunch of words would do anything, but it really does. It's essentially therapy. Kinda like how the Japanese say there's 3 faces. One you show the world, one you show only to yourself, and one you don't even show to yourself. Writing in a journal, you're not talking to the first face, but directly to the second one. So you're way more open. Your guard is down. Thoughts are free, etc. Sometimes, the third face will leak into your journal, especially when you're going through stuff or feeling down. That's self-therapy right there. Speaking to your third face. The sudden change in somebody's behavior towards you as soon as they realize they are not going to get from you what they have been asking/trying for. One of the senior systems administrators wanted to take me out to lunch. He then asked me about what my plans were for the future and making money. I said, "You're not about to pitch me Amway, are you?" Lunch was over. This one is crazy, but as a kid, Learning about the sun's death positively rocked me to my core. I asked the classic, well, if the sun is just going to expand and destroy everything, then what's the point? Which, instead of using that as a reason to be depressed, or whatever, I just used it as a reason to slack off in elementary school. Did you think you were going to outlive the sun? Nah, definitely not. But as a kid I was thinking, oh yeah, stars and stuff just live forever, until I learned about supernovas and such, lol. Diet and exercise really help significantly with mental health. It quite literally saved me from ending it. I go to therapy, and I've tried many medications. Exercise still has benefited me significantly more than anything else. I could never live my life without the gym now. Been doing this for 15 years. I'm 35 now, and have always gone to the gym 4 days a week with a week break 2 or 3 times a year. It's the best thing I've ever discovered, and strongly recommend it if you want to greatly improve your life. You sleep better, you feel better, you eat better, you F better, and you look better. Everything is better. I'll never stop. The stripper pole does the turning. Makes way more sense now. Oh, but not all of them. But having a cold drink while taking a hot shower. Totally mind-blowing, especially after a bad/hard day. Shower beer after yard work is amazing. You are my motherfucker. That I can see the moon during the day. That used to scare the S out of me when I was a kid. I thought it meant that something monumentally bad was going to happen. Only if the moon has a weird face on it. I was texting her, ran out of S to say, so I asked, "Penny, for your thoughts?" She sent back an eggplant and my brain did an actual flip. It was the first time I'd seen direct evidence of a woman actually being horny. My current wife did something like that while we were on AOL chat, totally dating myself. I found my way to her room pretty quickly. AIM was a beautiful thing back the day. Was 6 years old. Took my grandpa's hammer and used it to dig a hole. Grandpa came up and banged me on the head with a spade and said, "Use this." The digging efficiency was so profoundly different my brain felt like it would short circuit. Never used the hammer to dig again. Kept taking the spade and was like, "Ma pa, look how good the spade is." I was endlessly amazed with it for about a year. BTW, this was 1995. Is this the Gen Z absurdist humor I've been hearing about? No sir, I'm a millennial. And this is in fact a event from my early life. Rural NW, as was a barren and boring place in the 90s, had to invent, was of fun with no peers of my age to play with, and I wasn't exactly bright being near deaf and all that. That they made a comedy movie about Brian Wells, a pizza delivery guy that got a bomb strapped to him and told to rob a bank. Then he blew up on live TV. Brian Wells probably doesn't find that very funny, since he, you know, died. Movie. 30 minutes or less. Wow. I'm assuming this was the same event that the documentary Evil Genius was made about. That was such a dark event as a whole. I had no idea there was a comedy about it. Lol. Relativity. Truly mind-bending. The fact that time and space have no meaning to a photon. https://www.youtube.com/watch v = 6spu708y. Even though they travel at a finite speed broke my brain. A photon checks into a hotel. The receptionist asks if they need help with their bags. The photon replies, "No thanks, I'm traveling light." That pleasing a woman really isn't that difficult. So long as they communicate and you actually give a fuck. My favorite lesson so far is to literally just ask what they like. Sexually/romantically, just have a conversation about it and proceed accordingly, and she'll be the happiest woman alive. Lol. Periods. 11-year-old me had no idea. 11-year-old me thought it was a beautiful blossom into ladyhood. I was proven wrong. I remember being so excited to get my first period until I got it. The first Hubble Deep Field images. Yes, it's the darkest part of the sky. It's an area the size of a drinking straw, and those are all F galaxies. It made me feel very small and infinitely huge at the same time. On the opposite end of the spectrum, when I was in health class in 7th grade, learning how many things, on a cellular level, have to work just right for me to be alive freaked me out. But 12-year-old me is still in there somewhere, staring at the ceiling all night, losing his shit. Wasps and figs. Tip for anyone who reads this: if you don't know, and you're squeamish about bugs, don't find out. Hang on, does that mean that figs aren't vegan? The first time I blew a load, 12 just going 13. About a year later we got a laptop with internet access. Oh boy did that go well. I was also 12. And I secretly stole one my godmother's husband's Girls Gone Wild VHS tapes. That the pyramids were ancient to the Romans. It blows my mind that we are closer to Caesar in time than he was to the building of the pyramids. That people aren't exaggerating when they say they can see images in their heads. I have aphantasia. Means I can't visualize mental images. Only time I've managed to do it was with some diesel dough weed. That attractive women like the ones you see on TV or porno movies actually exist. In my youth I thought that beautiful women like what you see in TV weren't real people. Maybe they were CGI or something. Because where I grew up, rural Kansas, I never saw a genuinely attractive woman. Ever. In my first 20 years of life, I moved away, and it was a night and day difference. Even more so when I traveled overseas. This might be the hardest anyone has ever dunked on Kansas, and man, that is an accomplishment worth noting. Tasting farm fresh virgin olive oil that hasn't been diluted with other ingredients. Almost impossible to find in stores because it would cost more than the other brands. I thought virgin meant it's the first pressing of the olives, and then later pressings use heat and treatment to extract more, but lesser quality, oil. Nexium. Heartburn was the bane of my existence. One little pill and boom. Never again. Literally changed life for me. I got real, thought you were taking about the sex cult at first. Then remembered that was spelled NXIVM.